Good afternoon, Honors Algebra. Today we are going to be learning about the standard form of linear equations. Let's quickly review what we've done so far. Back in the beginning of the lessons, the unit that is, chapter 5, we learned how to count slope. That was the first thing we did. We counted slope of a line and we found that it was the rise over the run. And remember, slope is always expressed as a fraction. It is not a location, but it tells us how to get to a location or a point. Then we learned how to calculate slope. We learned how to calculate slope if we are given 2 points. Say like 5, 3, and a second point might be 6, 9. I subtract my y's, 9 minus 3, put it over the difference of x's, 6 minus 5, and the slope of the line that passes through those 2 points would end up being 6 over 1. You could simplify to 6, but when we're doing graphing, I really prefer the slope to be as a fraction. Simplified, of course, but we'll never take off if you tell me that's just 6. All right, then we learned how to graph using slope, y-intercept method. And that's the one that looks like this, y equals mx plus b. And remember, when we're in this form, a couple of things. Y must be alone. B is the y-intercept, or where I begin graphing, I plot that point first, and then m is my slope, the rise over the run. Right? Not the x, but the m, the coefficient on x, the number right in front of it. All right. And then more recently, we learned how to graph. Hocus pocus, I love my smartboard. Poof. By the intercept method. Graphing by intercepts. Okay, and that's where we make a t-table. And we plug 0 in for x, and then 0 in for y. We get our 2 points. If we want a third point, we can use the slope from those 2 points to get a third point, or we can just go ahead and draw our line. All right, so today we are working on standard form of a linear equation. And the standard form looks like this. ax plus by equals c. Please note that x and y are variables. They're the variables, x and y. A, b, and c are not. Notice they are capital A, b, and c, and that is important because in slope y-intercept, lowercase b means y-intercept. So please be careful with that. They are capitals. A and b are coefficients, which simply means that they are the numbers in front of the variable. So like 3x, a would be 3, plus 2y equals 6. 2 is b. C is called a constant. A constant. All right, notice that when I am in standard form, and let me give you 2 equations. I'll give you one in standard form, one that's not. All right, 3x plus 2y equals 6. And then this equation will be y equals negative 2/3 x plus 2. Okay, the red equation is in standard form. The blue equation is not. Hopefully you know the blue equation is in slope y-intercept form. Remember, slope y-intercept form, the y must be alone. It's alone. In standard form, a couple things to notice. The lead coefficient, in other words, a, must be positive. The a term, which is attached to x, it's the coefficient on x, must be positive. The c term is alone. C is alone. So if I have an equation like 4x plus 3y equals 7, I am in standard form. If that lead coefficient were negative, say this, I am technically not in standard form yet. Real simple thing to get me in standard form, and I'll bet you could tell me. Go ahead and pause and see if you know how to get that negative 3x to turn into a positive. If you said you were going to either multiply or divide the equation by -1, you are correct. Please note you must multiply or divide all three terms by -1. My new equation ends up being positive 3x minus 2y equals -12. And now I am in standard form. Why? Because the 3 is positive. The coefficient on x must be positive. The a term must be positive. Now you might be asking yourself, why am I learning standard form? Am I learning it just for a test? Well, actually, you see, when we go to graph, we always want to do it the simplest way possible. For example, I was helping somebody a couple days ago, and they were supposed to be graphing by slope y intercept method, and they were making a t-table. Now, there's nothing wrong with making a t-table, but as an honors algebra student, you don't want to do something out of fear. You want to understand many different methods, because if you can do it many different ways, you truly understand what is going on. All right, so I told that student that I needed them to do it in slope y-intercept form. They were afraid they were going to make mistakes. And I looked at them in the eye and said, look, you're an honors algebra student. You are smart enough. You are bright enough. You can do this. If you keep telling yourself you're going to make silly mistakes, I guarantee you will make silly mistakes. But if you replace those negative thoughts with positive thoughts like, I can do this. I am smart enough. I can learn this. Then you'll be surprised at the learning that'll take place. Give up whatever fears you have and trust. You can do it. You are smart enough. I've told many of you many times that you belong in this honors algebra class. I believe everybody was placed properly. There were a couple people that dropped. That's their choice. That's fine. Everybody else, there were people thinking about dropping. I think they are more than happy that they did not drop. And so am I. Because you can do it. You just have to apply yourself. You have the ability. All right. So when I am in standard form, something really cool happens. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to identify A, B, and C. That's my first step. So I'm going to say A is 3, B is 2, and C is 6. All right. Some really cool things happen. I can use some shortcuts. I can find the slope by doing -a over b. -a over b is the slope if I'm in standard form. That means the slope of this red equation would be -3 over 2. Look at that. I almost did nothing, and I know the slope. I know the x-intercept, and this is really cool because we don't have any other form that just tells us the x-intercept. I know that the x-intercept is c divided by a. Yep, c divided by a. So that means that the x-intercept is a point, and remember, an x-intercept must have a 0 for its y-coordinate. The x-coordinate will be 2. Where did I get 2? I divided 6 by 3 in my head. Oh man, I'll bet you're amazed by that. Also, I can tell the y-intercept. The y-intercept is c divided by b when I'm in standard form. I know the y-intercept has an x-coordinate of 0. Has to be on the y-axis. The y-coordinate of the y-intercept in this case would be 3. How did I get 3? I divided 6 by 2. It's that simple. Now that I know 2 points in a slope, I can graph. I can get as many points on that line as I want. In fact, I will go ahead and graph. Okay, I do want to say that this video is running out of time. I just noticed the time. I'm going to graph in part 2 for those of you going on to who are watching on the internet, on YouTube. Okay, everybody else just stay tuned. But for those of you on YouTube, you'll have to go to the part 2 of the video.